Home is where the heart is. It's where we should feel safe and secure. What happens when something is off inside our homes, though? A chair moved just a few inches to the side? Cabinets opened that were closed when you left the room? What about tapping in the walls? Strange sounds? Messages written on the walls telling you to find them? Would you feel safe then?
Welcome to Tales from the Graves, where shadows lurk and whispers echo.
Join us as we delve into the unknown, exploring tales of mystery, horror, and the supernatural.
Be prepared to journey into the darkness, where the line between reality and nightmare blurs.
I'm Jen.
And I'm Jess.
Together, we're the Grave Sisters, and we'll be your guides as we unearth the strange and unusual.
So find your flashlight, grab your shovel, and let's dig in.
The following podcast is rated for mature audiences.
It may contain graphic scenes of violence and explicit language that some may find disturbing.
Listener discretion is advised. Hey there, Gravediggers. Welcome to episode 19. Originally, I was going to do The Incredible Case of Elizabeth Smart, but when I watched a new series on Max, The True Murders on Elm Street, with the first episode, we learn about Daniel LaPlante?
LaPlante, yeah.
Which is a case of absolute nightmare fuel. And I thought it would be a great case to do before Halloween.
Yes, the best holiday ever.
All right, so when I was talking about this in the kitchen earlier, you were like, that name sounds so familiar. It sounds so familiar.
Right? And of course, I was like, did he have a pseudonym? Like the
Nope.
something or another Ripper? And you're like, nope, just plain Daniel.
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
And then she decides to look it up on her damn phone.
It sounded familiar.
And ruin things for herself.
I'm very excited. Let's just say I'm excited.
All right, well, I'm doing things a little different just because this is a very messed up kind of case.
Isn't that the best kind?
Yeah. So let's start when things have, I guess, reached a peak for the Bowen family.
Okay.
On December 8th of 1986, police and state troopers in Pepperell, Massachusetts, responded to a call at 93 Lawrence Street. A neighbor of the Bowen family called because 15-year-old Tina Bowen had come screaming from her home for help, saying that her family was being held hostage and that she had escaped through the window, but her father and sister were still trapped next door. But what exactly happened in this home that resulted in this? Are you intrigued?
So, you have a kidnapping. You have an escape.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Of course I'm intrigued.
All right, so we're going to go way, way back. All right? We're going to go way, way back to the beginning of Daniel's life. He was born in 1970 and had a very traumatic childhood. It is known that Danny suffered sexual and psychological abuse at the hands of multiple adults in his life.
Multiple.
Yeah, especially his own father.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So we have that age-old question again. Nature versus nurture.
Yeah.
Because sadly, the events at the Bowen home weren't the end of Danny's case. All right? Growing up, he was diagnosed with dyslexia at an early age. He had very few friends throughout school, and most of his classmates would refer to him as creepy or weird. The school did refer Danny to a psychiatrist due to his abnormal behavior and the almost complete disregard for his own appearance, hygiene, and self-improvement. So, like, he's one of those greasy, stinky, weird kids kind of thing.
I mean, we grew up with quite a few of those. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm a weird kid. I mean, I'm not greasy and stinky, but embrace the weirdness.
I think it was the level of weird and creepy that he was. And you'll kind of get some of that a little bit later when the Bowen arc kind of starts. So, Danny was a weird kid, socially awkward, and something disgusting happened with his psychiatrist. You see, he was referred to the psychiatrist by the school. His psychiatrist made sexual advances toward him, and for the following year, Danny was abused sexually during their sessions.
Perfect.
Yeah. And as someone who goes to therapy every other week for things that I've suffered and am trying to heal from, that's fucking awful. And I really hope that that psychiatrist is in jail now. Because, like, at the time, Danny would have been between the ages of, 11 and 14 when this happened.
Ugh.
Yeah. By Danny's early teen years, he was spending his evenings breaking into people's homes, stealing things, and as he got better at it, eventually he began to torment the residents of the homes that he would break into. By age 15, he was not only stealing things, but leaving behind items. So he would purposefully move things, like rearrange the furniture slightly so it's just slightly moved. Or he would have food, or he would drink a glass of milk or something, and then leave the dirty dishes there. Just so that way, when the homeowners came home, they knew that someone had been in their home. So
that would really fuck with me.
Right?
I mean, yeah, doing it to your friends, like going into your friend's house and like moving stuff over like an inch at a time.
It's like a prank.
Yeah, it's like a prank. But with him, he just does it just to, he does it just to fuck with people.
Yeah, psychological torture.
Okay.
Yeah. In 1986, that's when the torment of Tina and Karen Bowen started. Okay. You see, Danny had broken into the Bowen home, and while there, he saw a picture of the family and took a liking to Tina.
Oof.
Mm-hmm. Back in the 80s, almost no one had a cell phone. If you did, you were rich, or you were kind of important kind of thing, like a doctor or something like that. Most of the time, those still had pagers. So he found the number for their phone, their home phone, and began calling and talking to Tina. He claimed that he had been given their number by a friend who went to their school. He also claimed that he was a cute, athletic, blonde, smart, and lived in the area kind of guy.
Catfish.
Well, what does pretty much every 15-year-old girl want? To be in a relationship with a cute guy who is smart and funny. Tina and Danny talked quite a bit over the phone and eventually arranged a date. Danny wasn't exactly what Tina had expected when she opened the door. You see, Danny was pretty much the opposite of the guy he described to her over the phone. He was very disheveled. He had dark, greasy hair and wasn't attractive to her in the least bit. So, he probably also didn't smell the greatest.
Yeah.
Okay. But Tina, being kind and having still enjoyed their conversations that they had had over the phones, went on the date with him anyway.
No, that's just going to be leading him on.
Yeah. She wanted to give him a chance because she's like, well, maybe he's just really insecure about his appearance and stuff. I still really enjoyed talking to him.
She's nicer than a lot of girls.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And I don't know about you, gravediggers, but if a guy painted a pretty much different picture of himself than what they were, and I found out about it when he comes to pick me up for a date, I wouldn't go.
No. Liar, pants on fire.
Yeah, if he's willing to lie about his appearance, what else is he willing to lie about? Danny and Tina went to the fair that night. Now, I have heard, or not heard, but I've read differing accounts that they went to the movies, but the fair seems the more likely of the two dates. They were able to talk a whole lot and stuff during, like, walking around the fair and doing things. So that one seems the more plausible option. Well, after only about an hour at the fair, she left. She was creeped out because as she and Danny were talking, she did mention, like she brought up, that her and her sister Karen had lost their mother to cancer very recently.
Aww.
And Danny went all in on that. He began asking her strange questions like, how did you feel the exact moment you found out your mom died? And was asking for details about her death and like how much her mother had suffered and what she looked like and things of that nature.
No, thank you. No.
Yeah. So
I don't have my fair share of creeps, but that would definitely push it for me.
Yeah. So that was a no-go for Tina.
Good Tina.
Yeah. Tina did not see Danny again. Willingly, that is. Now, Tina and Karen were left home alone quite a bit since their mother had passed due to their father having to work more hours to be able to provide for his family after the loss of his wife. It was on one such evening alone that Tina and Karen decided to break out the old Ouija board.
Oh, fucking. Okay.
In the basement. And they tried to contact their mother. Nothing happened during their little seance. And as soon as they heard their dad come in, they quickly put it up and then basically forgot about it for the rest of the evening. We're just like, oh, well, nothing happened. It's a game, blah, 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 whatever.
But did they say goodbye?
Jessica, I don't know. It didn't mention that. So it was as they slept, like, the rest of the evening goes by, but it's as they slept that the girls heard rhythmic knocking against their bedroom walls. And
oh, that was our producer.
Yeah.
Scared me for a second.
Yeah, you look like you about pooped your pants.
The butthole.
Okay. Yeah, they heard that rhythmic knocking against their bedroom walls, and at first they thought that the Ouija board had worked and that their mother was trying to communicate from beyond the veil.
Oh, God, no.
They would ask questions of the quote-unquote spirit, and the spirit would answer via knocks against the wall.
Like 1 knock for yes, 2 knocks for no, that kind of thing?
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
This continued for a little while. The knocking became so regular that it started disrupting the girls' sleep. It wasn't much longer, and they noticed that objects in the house began to disappear, or items that had been set out would be strewn across the floor. The girls started coming home to find furniture was moved from one side of the room to the other, like a chair moved all the way across the room. The girls began to suspect that they were not dealing with the spirit of their mother, but of some other, like, demon or malevolent entity.
Because they didn't say goodbye on the Ouija board.
Maybe. I don't freaking know.
Okay, sorry.
But they thought it was that and that they had unintentionally invited it to stay with them. Their father, Frank Bowen, believed that it was just the girls doing everything, that it was a strange way to cope with the loss of their mother.
Mm-hmm.
The girls claimed to their father that they believed they had invited a demon or a vengeful ghost into their home with the Ouija board, but Frank refused to believe in something so outlandish. Now, it was on one such evening, they were in bed, going to sleep, that the knocking began again. But this time, it was coming from the basement, not the walls.
The basement.
The basement.
Okay.
So they armed themselves with kitchen knives and went down to the basement where they found the message, "I'm in your room. Come and find me," written in what looked like blood.
Where the fuck did the blood come from?
How about you listen to my story, hooker?
Ugh.
Yeah. Thankfully, the girls both bolted outside and to their neighbors, where they waited for their father to come home and told him what they discovered. Frank, again, believing that it was just his daughters acting out and that they had actually written the message on the wall, which was just tomato sauce, thankfully, and ordered them both into counseling. He was believing that both of his daughters were in such a bad mental state after losing their mother that they were acting out this type of scenario. Kudos to Dad, though, for doing his best in getting the girls into therapy, especially in the 80s.
Yeah.
Therapy wasn't a thing that you really did back in the 80s.
People were embarrassed to be in therapy.
Yeah. Several weeks went by, much in the same fashion as before the message appeared, when, again, there was knocking sounds, but this time it came from behind Tina's bedroom wall. When the two girls entered, they again found a message written in red on the wall that stated, "I'm back. Find me if you can." Again, the girls bolted from the house, went to their neighbor, and this time they called their father from the neighbor's home and urged him to come home, which he did. Frank marched straight into his home, ready to prove that there was no one else inside. However, when Frank entered the house, he noticed that there had been a lot more done than what his daughters and neighbor had told him. Now, according to JoeTurnerBooks.com, that same night they caught Danny, according to that website. And according to that website as well, he was supposedly wearing the deceased mother's wedding gown, had on a blonde wig, and was wielding a hatchet. But from what I can tell, a lot of that is sensationalized and more of something of an urban legend.
Trying to Norman Bates it, basically.
Yeah. The rest of my information does come from Celtic's Senator. Senator?
Is it CELTS? Celtics?
Celtics.
Like the basketball team.
Oh, really? They're a basketball team?
Mm-hmm.
My bad. Anyway, CelticsSentinel.com. The article and the timeline I went over was done by a police officer from the area, and the story plays out differently and is a lot more believable. So, the call came in on December 8th of 1986 of an intruder holding people hostage at the Bowen residence. When the officers arrived at the home, they found Frank, his two daughters, and their young friend had not been harmed, thankfully. And the intruder had either left the scene or was secreted away somewhere in the house or nearby area. There was a search done of both the house and the nearby woods and stuff by local police, and they even brought in the state police canine unit. All of it came up negative. Frank had told the officers that he and the 3 girls had returned home and found that someone had used the toilet and items were out of place. He searched the house and found the intruder hiding in a closet. The man had dark spiked hair, a painted face, and was wearing a hairy jacket.
Hairy jacket?
Yeah, that's how he described it. Not the dress of the deceased mom, as many stories state.
Okay.
The man had a hatchet in one hand and a steel wrench in the other. Frank said the intruder ordered all 4 of them into the bedroom in a very calm, quote-unquote, manner. Tina Bowen was able to escape from the room and run next door, from which a call was made to police.
Good.
Yeah, she booked it, man. Frank said that the hatchet wielded by the intruder was one he kept on the nightstand in his bedroom. And I'm like,
why would you keep a fucking hatchet?
Right? I mean, I guess it's better than a baseball bat behind the friggin' front door, which a lot of people do. Because, honestly, if someone breaks into your house in the front door, they're between you and the bat now, man. Anyway, although the intruder was later determined to be Daniel LaPlante, whom Frank had met in the past, no one from the Bowen family had made the identification on December 8th. It was also interesting that Frank Bowen described the male as approximately 22 years of age when Danny was 16 at the time. Tina had described the male as standing about 6 feet tall and being between 17 and 26 years old. Danny was only 5'8". Fear and LaPlante's disguise obviously prevented the recognition of Daniel as the kidnapper that evening. Well, the Bowen family temporarily evacuated their home following the incident. Thank God. But on December 10th, just 2 days later, the police were called to the home again. Frank told the officer that he had returned to the home to get a few things and had seen a face in the front window, the same face of the man who took them hostage. Officer Bazanson?
Bazinga?
No.
Oh.
No, he is a police officer, so Bazanson is quoted stating, "I could tell as I drove up. He was very upset. I could just tell as I drove up. He was pointing at the house. I said to myself, here we go. He's going to say he saw the guy at the window." The officer looked over the area for any tracks in the snow and then entered the home. That's when he knew that Frank Bowen had seen something in his home, that it was true. He states, "When I opened the door, on the right-hand wall, I saw a knife sticking out of the wall, and I see it's through a picture, a family picture. Written on it in magic marker, 'I'm still here, come find me.' Now the hair goes up on the back of my head. On another wall, I saw another picture saying, 'I'm going to kill you all,' with a knife through it."
Ugh.
So he quickly calls for backup, and 3 officers searched the home again and found nothing. Eventually, though, this guy's like, well, we searched before. There were no tracks before. We couldn't find anything in the woods. What if he's still here? He's just hiding. And that's when he saw that there was a wall that had been put up to hide pipes. And there was an opening between the side wall and this so imagine it like it's a right angle triangle, basically,
Mm-hmm.
where the 90 degrees makes up the actual corner of the wall, and there's pipes there, and they just put up, a wall. They still needed access to those pipes in the event that they broke.
Mm-hmm.
So the wall wasn't fully enclosed.
So it's kind of like a false wall in a way.
Yeah, it was like a false wall. Well, there was an opening there no wider than a sheet of notebook paper. And it's not like the length of it, which is 11 inches, which is a little more believable.
Mm-hmm.
It's the 8.5 inch side. So yeah, really tiny.
That would drive me nuts.
I know, right?
No.
Well, when he looked back there, the officer saw what looked like a pile of clothes.
Excuse me?
Yeah. He saw a pile of clothes. And he knew he had found him. The officer pulled his gun and told him to put his hands where he could see them, and states, "This is when I saw just how bad he really was." He was not afraid. He looked out of the corner of his eye. He wasn't afraid to have a gun stuck next to his head. Besancon's take on Daniel not being afraid of having a gun to his head meshes well with Bowen's statement that Daniel had a calm manner when kidnapping his family. This was clearly a cold, calm, clever, calculating menace capable of horrendous acts. A lot of alliteration there, but that's were the words they used.
I'm thinking I'm trying to say that 5 times fast. Cold, calculated, callous.
Yep. Nope. Yeah, you done screwed up.
I messed that up.
So he was booked, and the officer taking his mugshots decided to go ahead and take 6 mugshots as opposed to the usual 2 that they do, because something in his gut told him, I think we're going to need these in the future. I'm going to make sure we have every angle just in case.
Thank heavens.
Well, Danny was held for a little while at a juvenile facility and then was released on only a $10,000 bail that his family paid. Mind you, it is his mom and his stepdad his stepdad also physically and sexually abused him. So, yeah.
Why would they pay bail on a kid that was living in the walls of somebody else's house? Well, did they not do a missing person report? Were they not actually looking for the person? I mean, what the heck? What happened there?
I mean, the kid was breaking into people's houses all the time. They did not care about him. But I think they cared more about appearances to show that, oh, it's our son. And so they went ahead and they bailed him the frick out of prison or this juvenile facility. Okay?
They didn't care about him enough to worry about where he was at. Why would they care enough about their reputation to...
Right.
I just don't get it. I don't get that. Okay. Continue.
So it was clear that the judge in question who set the bail didn't think Danny was as much of a menace or threat as both the police and the Bowen family thought he was. Now,
I don't like that look you're giving me.
Let's flash forward a little bit. On December 1st of 1987, less than 2 months following his release on bail, Daniel LaPlante broke into the home of Andrew and Priscilla Gustafson in Townsend, Massachusetts. So it's nearby. It's very close to his normal stomping grounds. Andrew was at his place of business, but his wife returned to the house with her young son and was raped and murdered by LaPlante. She suffered 2 gunshot wounds to her head. Daniel drowned her son in the bathtub and did the same to the daughter in another bathtub when she came home from school. So, like, it was the mom and the son first, and then the daughter came home from school, and he's like, let's just drown this one. All right, let's go.
Well, okay.
Yep. Now, this is a brief encapsulation of events surrounding the triple homicide, okay? Daniel carefully planned the intrusions into the Gustafsons' home. First, he had broken in previously on November 16th of 1987, and he stole items. While he could have stopped there, he decided to return, much like he did the Bowen family.
Ugh.
He obtained a gun and lied to his brother's friend in order to get bullets. He practiced loading and unloading the guns. On December 1st, he broke into the Gustafsons' house for the second time, carrying the loaded weapon. When he heard Priscilla Gustafson and her 5-year-old son William entering the house, he said that his first thought was to jump out the window. But he decided not to. He confronted them with a gun, brought them to the bedroom, put William in the closet, and tied Priscilla to the bed. Daniel then said that after he tied Priscilla to the bed, his plan was to leave. But once again, he decided not to.
Ugh.
Instead, he made the decision to rape her.
Of course he did.
After raping her, he acknowledged that he could have left. Instead, he decided he would kill her. After he killed Priscilla, Daniel made the decision to take William into the bathroom and drown him. As he was leaving, he encountered 7-year-old Abigail. He lured her into the bathroom and made the decision to drown her as well. After fleeing the scene, Daniel went home, ate. What the fuck is up with your gut?
I don't know, man.
After fleeing the scene, Daniel went home, ate, and then attended his niece's birthday party as if nothing had happened.
Oh my God.
Oh, yeah. The whole acting as if nothing had happened showed, once again, the calm, calculating kind of behavior that Daniel had, which is very sociopathic.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Officer George Ayo, who's now retired, was one of the first 2 officers to arrive at the murder scene. His description of what they found follows. The Townsend police wanted a backup. They didn't give out a lot of information. Officer John Johnson of Townsend PD, informed me that Mr. Gustafson came home and there were no lights on. That was unusual. He then went upstairs and discovered his wife's body. He did not know where the 2 children were. John and I went inside to search. First, we went upstairs where his wife was, and she was on her back with a pillow over her face. You could see that she had been shot through the pillow. We began to look for the children. I went to the upstairs bathroom. The shower curtain was pulled shut. I opened the shower curtain, and there was a blonde-haired boy, I believe, lying face down. There was hardly any water in the tub. We searched downstairs. We found the daughter in the tub. There was still water in it. My feeling at the time was that she had fought to stay alive. The warrant was issued for Daniel LaPlante for the triple murder on December 3rd of 1987, and the search began. Now, when officers questioned Mr. Gustafson at the scene, they asked him why he didn't search for his children. And he said, after I found my wife like that, I was so scared that I would find my children. I didn't know what I would do. I couldn't handle it. Yeah.
Scared to find his kids.
Yep. Because
you had to know.
Because there was no sound or anything in the house. I don't think he wanted to be the one to find them like that. Which is honestly kind of a good move for most people in that type of situation, because I'm sure he would have plucked his children out of the tubs.
Yes.
And, contaminated any traces of evidence or anything like that. So.
Yeah. Ugh.
And honestly, I don't think we can be ones to judge about grief and shock and how someone would handle something in that situation. So,
yeah.
Well, the warrant was issued for Daniel on December 3rd. Sightings started coming in almost immediately. And the photos used for distribution were the mugshots taken of Daniel the prior year when he was arrested for the kidnapping. Okay? An officer trying to maintain a perimeter around a wooded area where they believed Daniel to be kind of lurking, hiding out in, he parked in the driveway of this house owned by a Lynn McGovern. Now, she came out from the exterior of her home and spoke with them, told them she had just gotten home, and she asked if he would enter her house with her. The officer, not wanting to refuse her request, left his partner in the cruiser and went inside with the homeowner. After entering shortly, there was a loud noise from upstairs. The officer drew his own firearm and went upstairs to see a 16-gauge shotgun just laying there on the landing. His gut instinct told him that Daniel LaPlante had been in the home, and when the police showed up, his plans went a little astray.
Okay, I would say so.
And instead of killing the homeowner and the police officer, because he saw that there was a police officer down in the cruiser below, he just left the house by jumping out a second-story window onto the garage roof and into the woods. Scattered all the way back.
Okay.
So, while searching around Elm Street, so this is where the name of the little docuseries that I've started watching on Max, because there's only 2 episodes out right now. Okay.
Okay.
While searching around Elm Street, the same officer heard a woman screaming. It was coming from the home of an Edward Gilligy.
How does he find his way into these people's houses?
He's just breaking into people's homes when they're not there.
Just how? I mean, good Lord. He's fucking Houdini, but the opposite. He's opposite Houdini.
So, a woman named Pam Michaela was the source of the screaming. She was inside Edward Gilligy's house. She had returned home to 17 Elm Street and found a man with a gun inside. She knew that it was Daniel, and he told Miss Michaela that she was going to drive him out of the area.
The fuck I am.
The alleged triple murderer ludicrously indicating that he had only a learner's permit. Yeah.
I'll do murder, but breaking the law by driving a car while I'm underage? No.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Well, when the phone rang, Daniel told Pam to pick it up, which she did. The call was from a relative warning Pamela to stay on the search for Daniel LaPlante. Danny then had Miss Michaela drive out onto Elm Street, and more irony, she noticed that Ed Gilligy was talking to someone in a vehicle. That someone was the officer, and she did not recognize that it was a police vehicle. Yeah. Pamela almost certainly saved her life. Like, when she saw Ed Gilligy, she fucking jumped out of that moving van. Okay? He had a gun to her, and she's like, nope. Boom.
Not
barrel
today,
roll.
Satan.
Yeah. So she jumped out of that vehicle near Town Hall. She was quickly assisted by a passing motorist who took her to the Gilligy house. Miss Michaela was masterful in the way that she was able to give vital information so quickly after such a horrendous encounter. So, as the officer was broadcasting the information about Daniel LaPlante's location, in, the vehicle and the direction that it was going in, Chief David Young, who had earlier transmitted an erroneous report of a supposed LaPlante sighting, questioned the validity of that transcription, and apparently the police officer in question curtly requested silence, and he finished his broadcast. He was like, "You shut up and let me finish," or something. I don't know.
And let me talk.
Yeah. So LaPlante was finally spotted driving the getaway vehicle in Ayer, Massachusetts. The bright orange van with a pop top and 2 for sale signs was very identifiable. It was not inconspicuous at all.
That's so fucking stupid.
So he has led these police officers on this fucking weird ass chase. Yeah, this wild chase. And he's in this vehicle that is super recognizable.
Sorry, he's such a fucking idiot.
Well, he finally ditches the van, okay? And do you want to know where they found him?
Oh, please just tell me.
They found him hiding in a trash dumpster soon after, and he was placed under arrest. So he was trashed and he took himself out, okay?
Okay. Okay.
So following his arrest, Daniel was transported to the Massachusetts State Police Barracks on Elm Street in Concord, Massachusetts. So,
sorry, just such a fucking
idiot. Yeah.
Okay. let me regain composure. Okay.
Oh, you about to lose it again when I go over this next sentence.
Oh shit. Okay.
So, when they book someone, they force them to strip, and then they've got to do the whole like cleaning and everything, making sure they don't have body lice. Ugh. So, when he was forced to strip.
Yeah.
Daniel finally had to admit that he had a gun stolen from the McGovern home, hidden in the crotch of his underwear. Yeah.
Continue.
Well, I mean, they obviously confiscated the gun, and it took a while. But he was finally convicted and sentenced to 3 life sentences. So, it took a friggin' hot minute to get him convicted. It was like a year later after the whole breaking into the Bowen home and the kidnapping charges and things of that nature. A whole year, he had still not been tried on those kidnapping charges. So, like, he got out on bail, and he was on the loose, basically, for 2 months. And that's when he killed the family, tragically.
See, that's where they fucked up.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, his family helped him out just so he could actually murder somebody.
Yeah, he had no qualms whatsoever about killing people. Like, mostly the police officers think that Tina saved her family by escaping and running over to the neighbors and getting police involved.
Okay.
Because the police officer was sure that Daniel was going to rape the girls and kill the whole family.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the judge who oversaw, his initial hearing of like guilty or not guilty and setting bail and everything, he failed in the fact that he did not see how malicious and awful that guy was to be living in someone's house for God knows how long, like several weeks,
Ugh.
Possibly a couple months. Okay.
He's like the original Frogger. And if you don't know what Frogger is, like it's P-H-R-O-G-G-E-R. Frogger is somebody who lives in other people's walls and eats their food and only comes out when the people aren't around. So he's like an OG Frogger, man.
Yeah. He was obviously not mentally well.
Obviously.
Because he wasn't doing the whole frogging or whatever it was, just because, he didn't really have anywhere to go or food or anything like that. No, he wanted to do it to mess with people. He admitted to his cellmate in the juvenile facility, before he got out on bail, that he would purposefully change the TV channels when people were out of the room. He would purposefully smash things or drink things that were other people's to cause fighting within the household.
Jeez.
Yeah.
He's a chaos goblin.
He's a chaos goblin who murdered a woman and 2 children. Yeah. Something that's a little fucked up.
Ooh, please share.
So Daniel has filed an appeal.
Why?
Well, he's trying to use the whole youth card and abuse card kind of thing, as well as I actually found the court documents that they filed in the Commonwealth versus Daniel J. LaPlante. Now, he filed this back in 93. Okay. So we were not informed that this was the route that they were going with this stuff. And apparently when they had the warrant issued for both him, they also had a warrant to search his home and try and find anything there.
But he was never there.
Yeah. They're stating that they took things that were not on the warrant and that those things should not be considered as evidence. Yeah.
I mean, what could they take that was not in...
I don't know, just other stuff in the home, not like the clothes he was wearing or anything pertaining to his alleged crimes. It's, I don't know exactly, but I just skimmed it because this thing is friggin' long. It is long.
I mean, I could see them wanting to have a warrant for, if he took random stuff from other people's homes and hoarding it like his own little treasure trove, looking for stuff like that. But
here's something. On November 16th, 1987, between 11:30 a.m. and 3:30 p.m., someone broke into the Gustafson home. Among other things, the thief took a cordless telephone, 2 cable television boxes, a cable television remote control device, and some coins from a Liberty silver dollar collection. The defendant placed the Gustafson's cordless telephone and the cable box in his brother's tool cabinet. The defendant told his brother that he was putting them there to prevent his parents from seeing them. At that time, the defendant's brother also saw the defendant with some silver coins similar to those reported missing from the Gustafson home, including a Statue of Liberty coin in a box. So I think what they're stating is that they had a warrant to search his stuff, not his brother's.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I could see that.
Mm-hmm.
But still, if they're looking for some type of evidence, you'd think that they'd have something to cover the entirety of, but okay.
Yeah. Well, that and the Commonwealth offered evidence of consciousness of guilt. So, like, he left that day intending to do that harm kind of thing.
Like having intent or...
Yeah.
Okay, because I thought that, like, with saying, like, consciousness of guilt or whatever, that he could try to plead insanity, but he obviously knew what the hell he was doing.
Yeah, when I was skimming this earlier, they did say that due to the evidence and stuff that was, like, presented, it was basically refusing him the option of an insanity plea.
Oh, well, would that be good?
Yeah. So, obviously, Daniel LaPlante is not in his correct mind. Like, he's not in his right mind. He needed a lot of help. And when he was supposed to get that help through the school psychiatrist and stuff, that just fucked him up even more because that guy sexually assaulted him.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes me
that pisses me off.
Big mad. So, that's the case of Daniel LaPlante.
That's it?
Yeah, I mean, he's convicted. He's in jail right now. I don't think Massachusetts is a state that does the death penalty or anything like that.
Ugh. Oh, well, I was hoping that you would have a little bit more for me, because...
Oh, do you feel like I've just kind of edged you there?
Dude, yes! I didn't get the climax I wanted. That I deserved. You're fucking sick.
I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, I can go over this whole thing a little bit more. Because there was apparently 6 challenged items fall into the 2 categories: the telephone, the cable equipment found in the tool chest, and Stephen LaPlante's section of the house, and various pieces of clothing found in the defendant's closet. So, those were the things that they were like, those should not be admissible. Because it proved that he had, like, broken into their home previously and then returned with the intent to do something. Like, if you already stole a whole bunch of crap, are you going back? Why are you going back with a fucking gun?
Like, I mean, first of all, he could have been like testing the waters first.
Uh-huh.
With breaking in and seeing if he could take something.
Going down here a little bit further, the defendant argues that all items seized pursuant to the December 11th, 1987 search should have been suppressed as fruit of the poisonous tree, which is a Wong Sun versus the United States, because we hold that both the December 2nd, 1987 search warrant and the December 3rd, 1987 search were lawful. There is no basis for excluding the items seized on December 11th of 1987. I think what they're doing here is like the officers who initially arrested Daniel for the kidnapping and everything and living in the walls type of thing. They were suspecting Daniel for the murder because homie, like, had a history of burglary, the kidnapping and everything. And so before the December 11th search, on the December 2nd and 3rd, they were like taking stuff and everything. And I guess I didn't have necessarily a full warrant, but it's considered like a single family home. And even though his brother was there and it was in the brother's stuff, Daniel's defense is stating that it shouldn't have been included.
Yeah.
Because it shows evidence of guilt of him breaking into the Gustafson's home before.
Yeah.
Um.
I'm just glad that he was found guilty.
Yeah.
And he is alive today. He's still alive.
Mm-hmm. As far as I can tell, yep.
Now, how old is he? Like in his 50s, 60s? He was born in 70, right?
Yeah, he was born in 1970. Let me pull up his wiki page real quick.
So he'd be 54 now. Or going on 54.
It doesn't really say. Yeah, it doesn't specify on his page, but yeah, he was born May 15th of 1970. So,
Yep, he'd be 54.
Yep. But anyway, so that's really all I've got for the Daniel LaPlante case. I thought it was a little bit of a creepy, spooky thing to do for like Halloween because honestly, what would anybody be more afraid of besides like someone breaking into your home and then living in your frickin' walls?
Right. Well, speaking, you son of a bitch. But anyway, so speaking of spooky, on October 31st, All Hallows Eve, we will be releasing a very special Halloween special just for you Gravediggers. Now, that week, we will not have a regular episode because next week is our season finale for season 1. Episode 20 is going to be our season finale. And then we will not have a regularly scheduled episode the following week after episode 20. But we will be sending out that beautiful, beautiful Halloween special just for you Gravediggers.
Yup. Give you a little bit of a hint. We're going to be around a campfire telling some spooky, spooky tales.
Maybe with some spooky, scary skeletons. And sorry.
You just got to roll with it, don't you? You just like, rah.
Yes. Is there anything else you want to add, sister?
Nope. That's really the case of Daniel LaPlante. He's in jail. Hopefully he rots there forever. But yeah.
All
it's
right.
time to just lay this one to rest.
Sounds good. See you next week, Gravediggers.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye. If you like what you heard, please feel free to follow, like, rate, and review Tales from the Graves podcast on your preferred listening platform.
We also would like to know what you think and what topic you suggest we unearth next. Email us at talesfromthegravespod@gmail.com or reach out to us at Tales from the Graves podcast on Instagram.
And if you have Discord, join us in the graveyard. The link is in our bio on our Instagram as well as this listening platform. Thanks again, Gravediggers. Motherfucking birds.
She suffered.
She suffered. She suffered.
Suffering Shakatash.
Those fucking
Jesus
birds.
Christ, those birds are loud.
Motherfucker,
fucking much.
Bitch!
God damn it, this whole fucking episode.